The crystalline spires of the Aetherian High Council chamber pulsed with diminishing light as First Guardian Lyra watched her world crumble through the observation screens. The void-born, shadowy entities that consumed light and life itself, had breached the outer defensive barriers of their third colony this cycle. Their once impenetrable energy shields, which had protected the Aetherians for millennia, now failed against the evolving darkness. Guardian, the reports from Colony Zenith, Second Guardian Orion's voice wavered as he projected the latest data. They've developed some kind of energy-draining field. Our barriers, they just dissolve on contact. Lyra's luminescent form dimmed with despair. The Aetherians were beings of pure energy and light, masters of advanced technology, but they had never needed to fight. Their defensive capabilities had always been enough, until now. "Show me the analysis of their new weapons," she commanded, forcing strength into her voice. The holographic display revealed horrifying new data. The Voidborn weren't just breaching their shields, they were weaponizing the very environment against them. Zones of absolute darkness, energy-depleting fields, and gravitational distortions that could tear an Aetherian's energy form apart. "We've lost contact with the Helios outpost," Orion reported grimly. "That's the 5th settlement this week. Our people, they're being consumed, their energy absorbed into the void." Lyra accessed the ancient archives, searching desperately for anything that might help them survive. The Aetherians had catalogued thousands of species across the galaxy, but most were like them, peaceful, energy-based beings who relied on defensive technology. Then something caught her attention. Deep in the archives, marked as a curiosity rather than a significant discovery, was a report about a planet that most species would consider uninhabitable. A world of extremes, where solid beings endured crushing gravity, devastating storms, and temperature swings that should make complex life impossible. "Earth," she whispered, her form brightening slightly with hope. "Show me everything about these humans." The data was fascinating. These creatures had evolved on a planet that would kill most species in the galaxy. They thrived in conditions that the Aetherians could barely comprehend. More importantly, they had recently achieved faster-than-light travel. "They're perfect," Lyra realized. A species born in hardship, who learned to fight and survive against their own world. "If anyone can help us combat the Voidborn's environmental attacks." First Guardian, Orion protested, "They're barely spacefaring. Their technology is primitive compared to ours, and our long-range observations show they still engage in internal conflicts." "Exactly," Lyra's form pulsed with determination. "They understand warfare in ways we never had to learn. They survive in conditions that would destroy most species. And their very nature, their solid, physical form, might be immune to the Voidborn's energy-draining attacks." She made her decision. "Prepare our fastest envoy ship. Plot a course to the Sol system. We need to make contact before it's too late." As the preparations began, Lyra studied more of Earth's transmissions. The humans were fascinating creatures. They told stories of overcoming impossible odds, of standing against overwhelming darkness. They had something the Aetherians had lost over their millennia of peaceful existence, the will to fight back. "The archive data shows they value choice in these matters," Orion noted as they reviewed their contact protocols. "We should approach them as equals seeking aid, not subjects seeking saviors." Lyra agreed. "We'll offer them full access to our technology in exchange for their help." "Perhaps." Her form brightened with possibility. "Perhaps this is more than just survival. Perhaps this is the galaxy's way of bringing two complementary species together." The envoy ship launched that cycle, carrying with it the hopes of an entire civilization. As it accelerated toward Earth, Lyra could only hope that these beings, these humans who had conquered their own deadly world, would choose to help save hers. The Aetherian ship disappeared into faster-than-light travel, racing against time while behind them, in the darkness between the stars, the Voidborn continued their relentless advance, unaware that their greatest challenge awaited on a small blue planet that most species considered too hostile for life. The next step would depend entirely on humanity's response to their first contact with an alien species, a contact born not of peaceful exploration, but desperate need. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if Earth's children would rise to defend those who could not defend themselves. Commander Reyna Blackwood stood before the United Earth Defense Council, her weathered face illuminated by the holographic display of the Etherian message. After decades of wondering if humanity was alone in the universe, first contact had arrived in the form of a desperate plea for help. "Play the environmental data again," she requested, studying the conditions the Voidborn were using as weapons. Zones of absolute zero temperature, gravity wells that could crush most ships, and energy-draining fields that would kill most species in the galaxy. But to humans, these were just another Tuesday in deep space training. Admiral Hassan stroked his grayed beard thoughtfully. "It's almost ironic. Everything these Voidborn use as weapons are conditions we've been adapting to since we first ventured into space." The council chamber buzzed with murmurs of agreement. Humanity had spent generations learning to survive in every hostile environment space could throw at them. They had developed suits to handle hard vacuum, ships that could withstand crushing pressure, and tactics for fighting in zero gravity. Commander Blackwood, Admiral Hassan turned to her, "Your Special Environmental Response Division has the highest success rate in extreme condition operations. How quickly can you assemble a response team?" Reyna straightened, her mind already running through personnel rosters. "I have 200 soldiers cross-trained in extreme environment operations. Give me 72 hours, and I'll have them equipped and ready for deployment." "You have 48, the Admiral replied. "The Etherian ship will remain in orbit until then. I want our team ready when they depart." As the meeting concluded, Reyna hurried to the SCRD training facility. Her team had already gathered, having watched the Etherian transmission. The room hummed with excited tension. They had trained their entire lives for scenarios that most considered impossible, and now they would put those skills to real use. "Listen up," Reyna called out. The room fell silent. "This is not a drill. We're about to become humanity's first interstellar combat force. The Etherians are a peaceful species who have never had to fight. They need our help, and we're going to give it to them." Captain Dmitry Volkov stepped forward, his scarred face serious. "What about compatibility issues?" "Their technology, their ships. Their artificial gravity is stronger than Earth's," Reyna explained, "which means their ships can handle our weight. As for technology, that's where things get interesting. The Etherians have offered us full access to their tech. We'll be combining their advanced energy systems with our combat experience." The next 48 hours were a blur of activity. The team checked and rechecked their equipment, modified their environmental suits, and studied everything they could about Etherian technology. Most importantly, they packed teaching materials. They would not only fight but train the Etherians to defend themselves. When the Etherian ship arrived at the training facility, it caused quite a stir. The crystalline vessel seemed to be made of solid light, hovering silently above the landing pad. First Guardian Lyra herself came to meet the human team, her luminescent form dimming slightly at the sight of them. "You're so dense," she said through the translator, studying their solid forms with fascination. "Are you certain you can function aboard our vessels?" Reyna stepped forward, offering a respectful nod. "We're tougher than we look, Guardian. Your ship's systems can handle us just fine." She gestured to her team, who were already loading their heavy equipment with practiced efficiency. "What seems impossibly heavy to your people is normal for us. We've trained our entire lives to function in extreme conditions." The Etherians watched in amazement as the humans moved easily through their ship's enhanced gravity field. When one of the soldiers accidentally bumped into a crystal wall that would have disrupted an Etherian's energy form, then simply apologized and continued working, Lyra's glow brightened with hope. "Perhaps," she whispered to Orion, "we were right to seek them out after all." As the combined team prepared to depart, Reyna gathered her soldiers for one final briefing. "Remember," she said, looking at each of them, we're not just fighting for humanity now. We're fighting for all peaceful species who can't fight for themselves. Let's show the galaxy what Earth's children can do." The Etherian ship rose into the sky, carrying with it humanity's first interstellar warriors. They were heading into danger, into war, into history, but most importantly, they were heading out to help those in need. After all, that's what humans did best. The crystal dome of Training Base Aurora hummed with activity as Dr. Nisha Patel examined the latest prototype of the hybrid combat suit. 3 weeks of combining human environmental protection technology with Etherian energy manipulation had yielded remarkable results. The breakthrough was understanding how your energy forms interact with physical matter, she explained to a group of fascinated Etherians. The suit before them shimmered with an inner light, human durability enhanced by Etherian power. "We've integrated your shield technology with our environmental protection systems." In another section of the base, Commander Raina Blackwood was learning from First Guardian Lyra about Etherian defensive systems. Their elegant shield barriers had protected them for centuries, but they had never been weaponized. The problem, Lyra explained, her form pulsing with excitement, was that we only thought about keeping things out. We never considered using our shields as weapons. On Earth, Raina replied, studying the shield controls, we learned early that sometimes the best defense requires a strong offense. Your shield technology is far beyond ours, if we combine it with our tactical experience. Their work was interrupted by shouts from the weapons testing range. Captain Volkov had been working with Etherian engineers to modify their weapons. They rushed outside to see what had happened. Volkov stood grinning next to a target that had been completely vaporized. "We did it," he called out. "The Etherians showed me how their light-based weapons work, and I showed them how we focus energy in our laser systems." He lifted a weapon that looked like a fusion of human and Etherian technology. When fired, it released a beam of concentrated energy that could switch between shield and offensive blast. But the most significant changes were happening in the command center. The humans had started teaching the Etherians about combat tactics while learning about space warfare. Together, they were creating something entirely new. In urban combat on Earth, Raina explained to a group of Etherian commanders, we learned to use the environment to our advantage. The Voidborn think they're clever using environmental attacks, but that just gives us more tools to work with. An Etherian commander, glowing brightly with understanding, moved light markers around the tactical display. "So when they create zones of absolute darkness, we can use thermal imaging to track their movements," Raina finished. "When they generate gravity wells, we can use the distortions to predict their positions." Dr. Patel's voice came over the communication system. "Commander, you need to see this. The first group of Etherian warriors just completed the environmental combat course." Everyone rushed to the training area. There, a team of Etherians stood proudly in their new hybrid suits, having successfully navigated a course designed to simulate Voidborn attacks. They had not only survived but had fought back effectively. "This is just the beginning," Raina said to Lyra as they watched. "Every day we learn more from each other. The Voidborn think they know everything about environmental warfare, but they've never faced anything like this before." Lyra's glow pulsed with pride and hope. "When we came to Earth, we thought we were just seeking warriors. Instead, we found teachers, innovators, and friends. That's what humans do best," Nisha added, joining them. "We adapt, we learn, and we help others do the same. The Voidborn think they can win by making the environment hostile." She smiled. "Well, they're about to learn that humanity wrote the book on surviving hostile environments." As night fell over the base, the combined human Etherian forces continued their work. In labs, training grounds, and command centers, two very different species were learning from each other, growing stronger together. The next time the Voidborn attacked, they would face not just human warriors, but a true alliance that combined the best of both worlds. A young Etherian trainee approached Raina, their form glowing with determination. "Commander, why do humans push themselves so hard? Even in conditions that should be impossible. Reyna watched as another group of trainees mastered the new hybrid weapons. Because that's how we survived on Earth. Every impossible condition, every hostile environment, they didn't break us. They made us stronger. And now, she smiled, we can help you do the same. The holographic display in Base Aurora's command center showed thousands of dark spots moving through space. The Voidborn were gathering for their largest assault yet. Commander Reyna Blackwood studied the tactical readout with First Guardian Lyra, both leaders knowing the next few days would decide everything. They're converging on the celestial triad, Lyra indicated 3 star systems. Our largest remaining colonies are there. If they fall. They won't, Reyna cut in. She turned to Dr. Patel. Status on the hybrid suits. 8,000 ready, Nisha replied without looking up from her console. Volkov's teams have produced enough enhanced weapons for all of them. The Etherian warriors are trained and ready. The past month had transformed everything. The Etherians were no longer helpless against Voidborn attacks. Wearing their new suits and carrying weapons that combined human and Etherian technology, they had successfully defended for smaller colonies. But this would be different. This would be the decisive battle. Captain Volkov entered carrying a data tablet. Scout reports confirm it. The Voidborn have developed some kind of quantum void field. They're creating zones where light itself cannot exist. Instead of showing concern, Reyna smiled. They still don't understand. They keep trying to use extreme conditions against us, but that's exactly what we're best at handling. She turned to the assembled commanders, human and Etherian alike. Listen up. This is what we've been preparing for. The Voidborn think they can win by making space uninhabitable. But we've spent the last 2 months teaching each other how to turn their weapons against them. The hologram shifted, showing their defensive plans. They'll hit us with darkness. Fine. Our thermal imaging can track them. They'll try gravity weapons. Good. Our sensors are calibrated to use gravitational distortions for targeting. But Reyna had one more strategy planned. While the others discussed defense positions, she pulled Nisha and Lyra aside. The defensive plan is solid, but it's not enough. While we're defending the triad, I want to lead a strike team directly at their command structure. Lyra's glow flickered with surprise. Attack their leadership? But they'll be at the heart of their fleet, surrounded by the worst conditions they can create. Exactly, Nisha said, catching Reyna's plan. They'll never expect it because no other species would even try. But we've built something they've never seen before. She led them to a sealed hangar. Inside sat a new ship, smaller than their others but sleek and deadly. It combined Etherian crystal technology with human engineering in ways the Voidborn wouldn't expect. We call it the Star Cutter, Nisha explained. It can handle any environmental attacks they throw at us, and its hybrid systems are specifically designed to pierce their defenses. A small team could slip through while the main battle distracts them. A strike at their heart while they're focused on our shields, Reyna nodded. It's risky, but it could end this war. Lyra studied the ship, her glow pulsing with mixed worry and hope. The conditions at their core fleet will be beyond anything we've faced, even with our new technology. It will be incredibly dangerous. We're humans, Reyna replied simply. Doing the impossible is what we do best. As they left the hangar, alarms began to sound. The Voidborn fleet was on the move, heading toward the celestial triad. The time for planning was over. Now they would find out if their preparations were enough, if the combination of human courage and Etherian technology could stand against the greatest Voidborn assault in history. The storm was coming. But this time, they were ready for it. The battle for the celestial triad lit up space like a newborn star. The Starcutter sliced through the chaos, Commander Reyna Blackwood at its helm. Behind them, the combined human-Etherian forces held the line against waves of void-born attacks, their hybrid technology turning each environmental weapon back against their creators. Multiple void fields detected, Captain Volkov reported from the weapons station. They're trying to cut off all light in our sector. Push through, Reyna ordered. The Starcutter's systems compensated automatically, its human-engineered hull reinforced by Etherian crystals that generated their own light. They drove deeper into the heart of the void-born fleet, where space itself seemed to warp and twist. Dr. Patel worked furiously at her console, keeping their hybrid systems balanced. The environmental readings are off the charts. They're combining all their weapons, absolute darkness, gravity distortions, energy-draining fields. The strike team pressed on. The humans drew on generations of surviving Earth's harshest environments, while their Etherian companions channeled power through their hybrid suits with newfound courage. They fought their way toward the massive void ship that served as the Void-born command center. They're panicking, Lyra observed, her glow steady despite the strain. They've never had anyone reach their core fleet before. The Void-born launched a desperate counterattack, creating a zone of such intense environmental hazards that even their own forces couldn't survive it. But the Starcutter, built by two species who understood survival in ways the Void-born never could, pushed through. All teams, prepare for boarding, Reyna commanded. Remember your training. We're about to show them why you don't challenge Deathworlders and their allies. The Starcutter breached the command ship's outer shell, cutting through with weapons that brought light to darkness. The strike team fought their way through corridors of absolute void, their hybrid technology allowing them to survive where no other beings could. In the space around the Celestial Triad, the main battle turned. The Etherian warriors, no longer afraid of the darkness, pressed their advantage. Human tactical knowledge combined with Etherian power drove the Void-born back from their colonies for the first time in history. At the heart of the enemy command ship, Reyna faced the truth about their opponents. The Void-born weren't invincible demons of darkness, they were simply bullies who had never faced species capable of fighting back. With practiced precision, the strike team planted their charges around the ship's core. For every peaceful species that couldn't defend themselves, Reyna said, activating the detonator. For every colony lost to the darkness. For the future of the galaxy. The explosion at the heart of the Void-born command ship cascaded through their fleet. Without their central coordination, their forces fell into chaos. The shadow forms retreated in disorder, their carefully controlled environmental weapons turning against them. Send the message to all colonies, Lyra ordered, her form blazing with triumph. The Void-born command is destroyed. Their fleet is in retreat. We have won. In the days that followed, Commander Blackwood stood before the Etherian High Council, presenting her report on the victory. The Void-born made one fundamental mistake, she explained. They thought harsh conditions made them invincible. They never considered that somewhere in the galaxy, there might be a species that evolved in even harsher conditions. More than that, Dr. Patel added, we proved that different species working together are stronger than any one alone. Human resilience combined with Etherian technology, Earth tactics enhanced by your understanding of space, we won because we learned from each other. The Council voted unanimously to establish a permanent alliance with Earth. Humans would help train their forces, share their survival techniques, and work together to protect peaceful species across the galaxy. The technology they developed wouldn't just be for fighting, it would help explore new worlds and establish colonies in places they never could before. As the sun rose over Base Aurora, Reyna walked with Lyra through the crystal corridors. Through the transparent walls, they could see teams of humans and Etherians working together, building a future neither species could have achieved alone. When we first came to Earth, Lyra said thoughtfully, we only hoped to find warriors who could help us survive. Instead, we found something far more valuable. What's that? Teachers. Friends. Partners. Your people showed us that surviving isn't enough. You taught us how to stand up for ourselves, how to turn challenges into strengths. Reyna watched a group of young Etherians practicing with the new hybrid weapons, their movements showing the confidence they had learned from human trainers. "That's what humanity does best," she said with a smile. "We don't just survive the hard times. We learn from them, grow stronger, and help others do the same."